Today's topic is Charles Guiteau, the assassin of the American President James Garfield. Young Charles appears to have been a particularly terrible student, and he struggles at various schools with poor marks and uneven attendance. Despite this, he tries and predictably fails to gain entrance to the University of Michigan. Old Dad informs his son that he's joined the notorious Oneida community in upstate New York, founded and led by the even more notorious John Humphrey Noyes. In fact, even the freakiest of the freaks reportedly joked about his surname, calling him Charles Get Out rather than Charles Guiteau, and becomes a keen supporter of the enigmatic Horace Greeley in his failed attempt to unseat the incumbent president, Ulysses S. Grant. Well, now it's 1880, and James Garfield had become nominated as the Republican presidential candidate. Garfield would soon go on to win the presidency, but it was a tight race. Charles tells himself that he's responsible for Garfield's win, and so he petitions the future president for high diplomatic posts to either Vienna or Paris. And he's laughed out of the room. At one point, he has an incidental encounter with the newly minted Secretary of State, James Blaine, who shouts at him, quote, "Never speak to me again on the Paris consulship as long as you live." And this would become a recurring theme. So he's decided that he must assassinate Garfield so as to make Arthur the president. And Guiteau shoots Garfield point blank twice in the back, and he shouts, quote, "I am the stalwart of stalwarts. Arthur is president now." The president is seriously wounded in this attack, and Guiteau is arrested at the scene without incident. Garfield would languish on for almost 3 more months before ultimately succumbing to his wounds on September 19th of the same year. Well, on January 25th, 1882, the inevitable sentence of death is handed down, but he was not led to the gallows. He reportedly danced to the gallows, and he smiled at the witnesses, and he shook hands with his executioner. The drop killed him instantly. If you find yourself in Philadelphia, you can examine Guiteau's deranged brain, which is housed in a jar at the Mutter Museum.
This concludes the latest episode of Well Hung History. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a killer review. New episodes drop regularly.